want to be a munchy boy?
Munchy boys!
Mahahanchi, Bahuahoys. That's what they call us.
They call us the Munchy Boys because we're the Munchy Boys.
They do that because we munch, we're boys, and we'll never grow up, and we'll just keep munching.
Never, never land.
Yeah.
Off to never, never land. Munchy Boys. I think Tony's drowning over there, drowning in his sweet tears.
I was drowning in my regular water, and now I'm going to take a sip of my Lagunitas IPNA.
Oh, well,
look at this, Aaron, non-alcoholic.
Non-alcoholic? Tony,
Okay.
Are you nuts?
Okay, so our other friend Tony Kieber, when he came over to watch SNL, he brought this.
Okay.
And he introduced me to it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is actually good." So my new thing that I've been telling Whitney is that, like, I kind of get disappointed in myself because, like, every night I was having like a beer or two, which isn't that bad, but like I was saying, like, I'm not even getting buzzed. Like, why am I drinking alcohol? Because it's not It's not healthy, and it would just make me feel lazy and stuff. So now I'm reducing my alcohol to when, like, I'm actually hanging out in a group or something, which, you know, we don't really do anymore. So
I just personally don't get the idea of, like, drinking a non-alcoholic beer, you know.
and I think it's literally the taste thing, because since I've been drinking beer for quite a while, it's almost like just a soda to me. Like it's almost like a soda water. So this is like an IPA tasting. Well, it basically is a non-alcoholic IPA. So, and I actually like I like the hoppy taste of the beer. So,
right.
So it's basically just like a super good, like, soda water to me. So,
well, why don't you just order a few, like, you know, like hops, you know, the plants, or the, you know, and you can just, like, kind of chew on them, you know, and get that taste.
I know, exactly. But anyway, what's been up, man? What's been up? It's been a while.
It's been cold out and snowy.
I know. As everybody knows that listens to this, it's been like negative. It was like negative 12 degrees one morning. Was that this morning or yesterday?
It might be this morning. I can't tell. The only good thing about zero temps, well, we'll get into that in 1 second here.
You know what I was analyzing? You gave a little clue. So you know what I was analyzing is, imagine trying to start your DeLorean in the negative 12.
Yeah, I mean, that would not have gone well. Which, by the way, my garage door is now fixed, and I need to go retrieve my DeLorean from Tony's garage.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, his garage is officially fixed. His door was completely broken. And
Give me back my DeLorean, Tony.
So he's been keeping the DeLorean at my place in the garage temporarily. And as much as I love having an awesome DeLorean in the garage, it's becoming a thing where I'm like, I can't wait to have like 7 more feet of space. Like,
he's going to have the DeLorean. You know what's crazy is, like, I forget how much bigger my van is than the DeLorean. Like, since my garage door is fixed, I decided that I was going to put my van in there instead until I got the DeLorean back.
Yeah.
But damn, that van is huge. Like, I can't fit my van in the without moving, like, the dolly and other things around.
And you're like, damn it. It's time to start having a garage sale. You're like, no, you know me. I don't sell stuff.
Remember, the temperature forecast for this week was 8675309.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Oh, my God, that was hilarious. And they were like, Tommy Two-Tone was the forecaster or something like that. So.
But that wasn't correct, because yesterday was 0.
Had to burp.
0.
Had to burp. Okay. And it's been so cold that, I mean, should we just dive into, you know, like the special of, like, why? What does being cold have to do with what we munched?
Well, Nebraska's got a certain tradition at the beginning of the year. I'm sure they have several, but the tradition that we're talking about is a little thing that we like to call Temperature Tuesday.
Oh, Temperature Tuesday. From where?
From Runza, food just like Grandma used to make.
Runza Hut. Didn't it used to be called Runza Hut or something?
They did at one point. Yeah, yes.
That's so funny. It's like not every food place is a hut. God damn it.
But I think, as people who live in the Omaha area, we kind of forget how local or regional really, like Runza really is.
Yeah, I know. We kind of just take it for granted as a chain.
But it was founded in 1949 in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Whoa. 49, is that when Grandma used to make it?
Exactly, when Grandma used to make.
And if anybody doesn't know what the hell we're talking about, there used to be old commercials where it was like food just like Grandma used to make. And didn't they actually have like a grandma lady that would always
and you see like the grandma lady and she just went to Runza and picked it up, it's a... And apparently they have like 86 locations as of July of 2020, which I didn't realize they had that many. 86.
Oh my gosh. Where do they it says location, so I'm going to go to that.
Nebraska, Iowa, Colorado, Kansas.
Oh, so okay, yeah, so it is fully Midwest now. Like I knew that it was like obviously, I thought it was all Nebraska, but I didn't know that they were like out everywhere else too. So like in the Midwest.
Who knew?
That's insane. So they're really picking up steam.
Yeah.
Honestly, the way that they're branded, I could actually see them like going national at some point. But even some of the biggest chains aren't national. So,
well, there's been some issues lately in that I saw there's a few lawsuits, especially one in Texas, where like
what?
There's a guy selling a sandwich kind of Runza. The thing is like a Runza is not a word that they made up. That's a kind of type of sandwich.
Oh, okay.
That's
so
like
I
if we
didn't
were
know that.
If we were to open a hamburger joint called Hamburger, and then some guy in Texas, starts a place called Hamburger,
then they might be like, "Huh? Lady, are you nuts?"
Exactly. If we went down there and tried to sue him, it's like you can't call it Hamburger.
And I'd
that's
be
what
like,
our restaurant's called.
I know. And then I'd be like, well, why'd you call me lady?
So there's a little issue there, but what the heck? That's none of our business at the moment.
Aaron, I finally put the lamp in my room, so now I don't have to have that ugly bright overhead light on the Zoom.
Oh, you have the lamp.
Yeah.
Well,
and
I finally put the lamprey eel in my room, so I
finally put up my studio foam and stuff. So that's why I sound so good right now. It really made all the world of difference.
Tony, foam home.
They're at home. They're like, no, it sounds the same. And I'm like, shut up.
So anyways, it was Temperature Tuesday, and what did we do? We went and got our free Runzas.
Oh my gosh, yes.
0 degrees out. So the cost of the Runza is the price at 6 a.m., which in our case was 0, so it's free when you buy a medium fry and a medium drink or something to that effect.
Whatever the temperature is, and if it goes below 0, it's free. And so here's what I've been wondering. So we made sure to look, because I was like, when me and Whitney were in line, we were like, wait a minute, if you ordered like a cheese Runza, you probably get charged? Because I think, and we looked it up and it's true.
They charge you for the cheese.
It's only the regulars that are, they just charge you extra for the topping or something.
Yeah, it's like 10 cents or 15 cents extra cheese.
Like, dang it, I didn't know that. We just got the original sandwich. Or I
get mine
Runza.
with cheese and frings. That's what I always do, cheese and frings. But they're pretty good about upgrading it to, anything. They'll just charge you the upgrade fee.
That's cool. I didn't know that. Otherwise, I would have got the cheese.
You can get the cheese. You absolutely can get the cheese.
That's cool. I'm jealous now. No, what am I talking about? Wait till you hear what I got.
You could have had a slice of cheese, Tony.
But before we dive into what we dove into, now they know that we went to Runza. But Aaron, I kind of told you this a little bit before that.
Oh?
I was listening to another one of my favorite podcasts called Doughboys.
Okay.
And they were talking about different movies and like nostalgia and like horror movies and like what they liked. And they were talking about Basket Case. And I was like, ooh, Basket Case. I love Basket Case. Like I remember being a little kid and like my mom let me watch that. And I remember being freaked out and that was very nostalgic. So I was like totally enjoying this episode of the podcast because it was about food and like old like horror movies and stuff. But then they were like, oh man, have you seen Reanimator? Like, that's great. That is so
I love
good.
Reanimator. It's actually one of my personal favorites.
So then I was thinking to myself, I was like, what is this Reanimator? I've literally never seen it. I've always seen like the box on the shelf back at Blockbuster in the old days. And like, I remember always seeing it and I never watched it. So I was like, okay, fuck it. We're going to watch it. And Whitney was like, okay, we can watch it. So we rented it. And then it was funny because we literally had to rent it. Like it was so on Amazon, it was like $1.99. We were like, oh, well, $1.99.
I probably have like 1 million copies on DVD I could have lent you one, but
Yeah, it was one of those things where we were like, whatever. I know it literally almost felt weird, which is kind of weird as a filmmaker to say that it felt weird to rent like an old movie. But that should be normal. But obviously they still should make money. But anyway,
normalize renting old movies.
I know exactly.
I had a VHS copy maybe in '89 or '90. I mean, I was way too young to have an unrated VHS copy of Reanimator.
Yes,
and oh my gosh, that movie had tainted my very core of my being.
And by the way, people, can I just say that Aaron, so let me back up a little bit. So I watched the movie because I heard it on that podcast and I was curious and I was like, okay, I'm just going to watch it because they're saying they love it and that it's like campy and fun. So I'm going to watch it. And then I found out, and I assumed this actually, I assumed that you were already going to have been into it. I kind of assumed, I knew that you would have at least seen it. And I was like, I bet he's probably like a fan of this.
Absolutely.
And then so ladies and gentlemen, Aaron had an action figure that he sent me a picture of. He's literally wearing the sweater right now. He's holding it up right now. The
Herbert West Reanimator and my Reanimator sweater. I've got a Reanimator wallet around here somewhere. I mean, it's
whoa. Let me see the whole sweater. Oh man,
Herbert West and his reagent, and on the back you've got there's like the dead cat on the side there, and
yeah, is that the head on the sleeve?
There's the head of
nice.
Dr. Hill, and on the back you got the head of Dr. Hill again.
Nice, that's awesome. Okay, I'm terrible at I have a terrible memory in general, but I'm so bad at characters. So obviously I was remembering Herbert West because they kind of make it a point to drill that into your head.
Right,
but,
Herbert West.
Who is the other normal doctor, or at least Sim?
Dan Kane.
Okay, yeah, because I kept remembering Dan, and I was like, I love that it's Dan because that's such a normal name.
What's funny is I always thought that was like the guy who was in ER, but I realize now it's not the same actor at all.
Do you want to give kind of like a little quick rundown of the movie, so that people are like, what the hell, they'll kind of get it, or should I just read the?
I mean, it's a horror comedy that is kind of really introduced a lot of the ideas of the Lovecraftian. Well, it doesn't really go into the mythos or anything, but it's one of the first introductions of Lovecraft to kind of pop culture or the mainstream. I mean, now it's everywhere. I mean, you get the Arkham Asylum and the Batman. You get the open to Rick and Morty has Cthulhu. I mean, you've got South Park and the very ideas behind some of the things in Stranger Things are very Cthulhu mythos based, and that all comes from this guy in the 1920s. The H.P. Lovecraft, who's a little problematic if you go to some of the source material now. So it's interesting to see the excellent TV series Lovecraft Country take some of those ideas but adapt them, so it's not this very much of his time crazy racist white writer, and adapting some of the good that he's created completely
into the modern age.
Yeah,
it's filtered out the bad stuff and just brought in the interesting stuff.
And I can't say enough good things about Lovecraft Country. Originally I was thinking okay, it's probably gonna be an episodic Twilight Zone kind of thing. It's gonna be but it's pretty crazy. I mean, it's great. If you haven't seen it, go see it. If you have seen it, go see it again.
I know. I need to watch it again because I liked it, but it is completely confusing to me. But I think we've talked about this. I was like, yeah, but I was looking at my phone a little bit. And then we agreed that that's not a show that you can really just look at your phone.
No, because there's details in there that are going to come back. And there's some of the things that they'll do, where you just take these little side characters and suddenly have an entire hour-long episode dedicated to their growth as a spiritual being is just insane. You would never see that in any other TV show at other point in time of history. They're really doing some crazy things, and it's it kind of I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying it's absolutely perfect, but it's an amazing series and great to watch. But it all kind of comes back to the writings of H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah.
And and it's interesting because the character in there has an H.P. Lovecraft book, and he's kind of reading some of the stories, and they kind of talk about how problematic some of that stuff is, even though that the series kind of takes place in the lens of 1950s Chicago, and then going into the South and stuff. And But I think we're kind of getting really carried away here. We're going all over the place.
You're just talking about Lovecraft Country, but back to the Reanimator.
Like my introduction, and I believe like a lot of our introductions to the work of Lovecraft was through Reanimator. I've never actually read the original stories that it was based off of, H.P. Lovecraft or Herbert West Reanimator, but I have seen a lot of Stuart Gordon, the director of Reanimator's other works like From Beyond, and there's been a few other adaptations of Lovecraft works that have like Dagon and stuff that have come since Reanimator.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen any of his other stuff. I'm trying to look. So Reanimator. Did he do part 2, by the way? Because that's the other thing. I watched part 2.
So, but maybe
the
not.
The Bride of Reanimator. Isn't that the Bride of Reanimator?
Yeah, Bride of Reanimator. Yeah. Honestly, I probably haven't seen Bride of Reanimator in like 20 years. Yikes.
So what I got from watching it literally the next day, it was that it basically picked up like perfectly. Like it seemed like there was not even that big of a time difference, even though I think it was 87 and then 91. Or no, 85 was, it says.
Yeah.
85 was Reanimator.
And I believe the release of Reanimator was a little weird because like they made the movie in 85, but due to some issues with studios and stuff, I don't believe it was actually had a mainstream release on in movies or on VHS until 89.
Oh, crazy.
So it is a 1985 movie, but it wasn't until like 89 that you would really.
That's pretty interesting because like I feel like the 80s are like one of those time frames where they're so specific, even in like 3-year increments. Like,
oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Just like aesthetically, I feel like it changes so much. Like, I don't know.
Especially in horror, you go to like the beginning of the 80s where you had like, your Halloween and you're like your Friday the 13th, that's more in the 70s and well, not Friday. Yeah. And then like then in the 80s, you start getting more into the Nightmare on Elm Street. And then like then it starts to get into like the insane sequelization of all of those things. And so it doesn't feel like it's trying, it's definitely its own movie. There's nothing quite like that. It's not trying to be you like the horror films like Friday the 13th. Well, here's our take on that. It's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
And it's not really, it's the character and some of the themes are taken from the original story, Herbert West Reanimator, but really the movie is entirely its own thing.
I'm going to read the really simple short, like I forgot if it's called a log line or what it's called, but it says, after an odd new medical student arrives on campus, a dedicated local and his girlfriend become involved in bizarre experiments centering around the reanimation of dead tissue. But it's more complex than that. But yeah.
Yes, it's absolutely more complex than that. And it's funny because I haven't seen Reanimator in like 12 years or so. That's why I just finished rewatching
Holy
it.
Shit, yeah. So you like rewatched after that long. So what did it hold up for you?
Because I knew that you would, because I just watched it. We were going to talk about it. So I was like, well, I got to watch it again just to kind of like.
Because if it's been that long, honestly, yeah.
But again, it's like, that movie is so burnt into my subconscious, the very core of my being that I didn't need to see it again. But
the primordial ooze.
Because watching it is more of an adult. Like when I was a kid watching it, high school student, whatever. I was like, oh yeah, I totally identify with like Herbert West. Now when I watch it as an adult, I identify more with like the straight doctor, like the Dan Kane. It's having this like crazy roommate, that's like, that you decide to like rent a room to, and he ends up like completely ruining your life and like, and throwing you in this crazy new, chain of events.
That's so funny. But yeah, I thought it was fun. It was the perfect like campy and goriness of just like that throwback old 80s like horror dash like comedy, dark comedy, like
and it's totally camp, but it's also totally fun. It's totally gore and it's over the top, but it's not trying to take itself too seriously, and it's not trying to.
Yeah, that's what I told Whitney. I was like, it totally knows what it's doing. Like it knows that it's being like ridiculous,
and
like,
it's not complete schlock. It's not like a trauma, Toxic Avenger movie where it's like, oh, we're not even trying anymore. But
Oh, Whitney said people should give people a trigger warning about the movie because like it was completely gross when like that woman was literally being like molested by the guy with his head. Oh. His head was cut off, and the ripped off head was brought back to life, and he was literally like trying to rape her and like licking her and stuff.
And even when I was a teenager in like in the early 90s watching that on VHS, I was like, oh my gosh, yeah. But I used to take the rehearsal footage from my band in like 9th grade, and I would splice together footage from Reanimator and E.T. So I had a VHS camera that had like an AV dub feature, so you could like take your video with your band rehearsal and then like just dub over the video. So I'd like splice together these like weird like music videos with like
creepy,
the ET forest and like crazy reanimated bodies like knocking down doors and stuff.
Another thing I thought was hilarious is that as we were eating Runza, we were watching Bride of Reanimator, like we were watching part 2, and I was telling Whitney, I was like, good thing the goriness is like so funny because like we're literally eating Runza as we're watching this gory movie.
Right,
like,
yeah.
because like
It's
not very realistic. It's just kind of fun and like crazy. Like, yeah.
And it's like Stuart Gordon seems like a really nice guy. I mean, he was making stuff up until recently, like that. I know he had directed a few episodes of the Showtime Masters of Horror series, back like a decade or so ago, like Dreams of the Witch House. And I don't know, he just seemed like it's crazy because like you'll find this if you go into like a lot of the more digging you do like that. But he and the producer of Reanimator, Brian Yuza, wrote, and originally he was going to direct Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Whoa, is that why I saw something about him doing the series? Because I went to Stuart Gordon and I saw that he had done Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the TV show.
Well, they created the idea of the movie for Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and they sold the movie to Disney.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
He was originally set to direct, but he just like couldn't work with the Disney guys. He just like realized that no, I make my own little thing. I do my own little thing. I can't sit here with a bunch of like Disney execs and like make movies by Disney committee. So when you watch like Rick Moranis, and then like of course, so when you see this, I mean, I don't know if he actually was directly involved with the series, but most likely it's like characters created by Brian Usna might have actually produced the series and had more to do with that than that. But I don't know what Stuart Gordon's connection to that was.
Brian Usna.
It's almost like Brian Runza almost.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it looks like Runza. It's Yuzna.
Yuzna, yeah.
It's like if you just switch around the letters, it's almost Runza.
Yunza. Actually, there's a good anagram in there with that, with Runza, I'm sure.
Well, here's the thing that's also funny. Yuzna. That reminds me of what you said when I sent my picture of my Runza. You said Yums.
Yeah, I don't even think I did that on purpose even.
Oh man, but yeah, so basically to break it all down, I liked it. It was fun. It was a little bit ridiculous watching part 2 right away, like the next day. I was like, I'm kind of reanimated out a little bit. Like I should have waited. Cuz it is just like thing after thing, like just the most ridiculous, like when they're like combining all those parts and everything, and then there's the little finger monster with the eyeball. And then there's like the legs and like just everything.
Oh yeah, and like the weird bat ears and stuff. I need to totally watch that again. Yeah,
we were literally like, it was funny because toward the end, Whitney was kind of just like looking at her phone and not really even watching it. But then like she would look up and see like Dr. What's his name's head with the bat wings flying, like, and it's kind of hard to like, this has gone downhill quickly. Like
it's hard to picture Whitney watching Reanimator, but that's hilarious.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
But Brian Usna's name is an anagram for Any by Runza, if that means anything to you.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Any by Runza.
Yes.
But yeah, so we get back to the Runza, tons of funza.
What'd you get at Runza? I got the cheese Runza with rings. That's what I.
Oh my God. Okay, Aaron, you are not a hog compared to me. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready for some Runza?
No, I am not ready.
Okay, I'm disgusting. Let me just say that right here and now. I got the free standard Runza, like the house Runza, whatever they call it.
The Runza. They call it a Runza, Tony.
I'm going to go to the menu. Runza sandwiches.
They call it a Brian Usna.
World famous Runza sandwiches. I got the regular Runza, and I got frings, which is the crinkle cut fries and onion rings. And then on top of it, I said, and this was more of a justification. I said, Whitney, listen to me. I can't just have a Runza. We're doing Munchie Boys. I need a couple other items. So are you ready for on top of that?
Am I ready for Freddy?
Variety? I'm trying to see where it is. It just says variety. I can't really. Okay, so basically, I can't even find it. The menu's kind of hard to navigate, but whatever. That's okay. I got on top of the Runza and frings, I literally got the cod fish sandwich, just the sandwich itself. And then I also got the bacon cheeseburger on top of it. So
you got the bacon cheeseburger?
Before you guys all say, dear God, what the hell is wrong with you? Let me say, I cut the fish sandwich in half and I cut the bacon cheeseburger in half. And I put those in a container and put them in the fridge for Whitney to have the next day. So this is still overeating, but I only had a half of the bacon cheeseburger and a half of the codfish sandwich on top of the Runza. Not on top of it, but in addition to.
I don't know, like codfish sandwich seems a bit redundant. That's like, why not call it like a pig bacon cow cheeseburger?
I think it's just because it was the type of fish. Like they're like, oh, we actually use cod. Like instead of like, oh, we use, whatever. Like, not that cod is cod considered good? I don't know.
I mean, it's no salmon.
Yeah, salmon. That's like a whole different taste.
Salmon.
But here's the thing. Let's dive into this a little bit. So
yes.
Let's talk about our Runzas.
Oh, yeah. So
what were you thinking?
Runza's one of those things where, like, when you think about it, you're like, hey, I haven't had a Runza in a long time. That might be a good idea.
Yeah.
Right? And then you get it and you're like, oh, you start to kind of, you start to go into this whole like Jim Gaffigan routine. Like, am I going to die? I actually ate that.
Like, did it just feel like unhealthy and gross, or what did it feel like?
It just felt like bready and bread, I don't know.
Like, did it feel like you swallowed a little lump of dough?
Yeah, something like that. A little lump of dough with some fillings inside.
And you got frings. So let's talk about those things, and then.
I do enjoy the frings. I think more places should have frings and not make a big
fries and rings.
Sometimes they make a big deal about it, like, oh, you want fries? Well, that's like $1. You want rings? That's $1. Oh, you want frings? Well, we can't do that.
Yeah,
I've seen places that don't say that. It's like, well, why don't you put a little bit of the fries, a little bit of the rings, and make frings?
We want variety.
We can't do that. Think, well, can I get a small fry and a small ring, and can you put them together and make frings? No, you can get a small fry and a small ring.
We'll set them next to each other.
People. Yeah.
But so here was my rundown.
Right.
So
the Runza rundown.
Oh my gosh, the regular Runza. Do they call it a sandwich? The regular Runza. Yeah, Runza sandwiches. Okay. First, I'm going to read the description for people that don't know. Ground beef seasoned with a top secret blend of spices and mixed with cabbage and onions, all wrapped up in fresh baked bread. It's the taste that generations of Midwesterners have grown up loving, and it's our signature sandwich. Get it topped however you want, because while we make it fresh, you make it your own. That's what they have to say about that. So let me tell you what I have to say about that. I will say this is the best Runza I've ever had. And you want to know why? I think, and somebody else online said this. Somebody else online was talking about Runza Hut.
Runza Hut.
And they said that it seemed like it was fresher because it was Temperature Tuesday, which makes sense because they had to have a bunch going, like one after another. Nonstop, like making them, since it's cold, everybody goes
yes.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So it was super fresh and lovely, and like mine was like, yeah, I've never had it seem that good. Every time I've gotten it before, it seemed all like kind of just like it was old, or not old, but just like not that great.
Right. But I think you went to one of like the better locations. I went to the one on like 33rd and Dodge, or 30th and Dodge.
Yeah, and I went to Center Street at
Saddle
Creek or whatever.
Yeah,
so.
And it's like, but I know. I mean, I haven't been to Runza in a long time, maybe over a year, maybe since last time they had a Temperature Tuesday.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So I had kind of a funny analyzation, which was, so when we got there, we're like, oh my dear God. Because on Center Street, we were stuck on Center Street, like to turn in. Like it was that backed up because of Temperature Tuesday. And I was saying to Whitney, I was like, isn't this funny? Because it's not like Runza's expensive. It's like fast food prices. So it's kind of funny that like, so Temperature Tuesday, you basically get a free Runza, but you have to buy your drink and fries and any other items you want for full price. So it's kind of like, it's just hilarious. It's almost like people like to use it as an excuse. Like, oh, well, honey, we got to get Runza.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's you're right. But it's also like, what the heck? You know, it's nice to have some stupid reason to go out, you know, especially
and
now.
I think that's what it is. Like, it's not about the money. Because I was like, we don't need to save, like, you know, whatever it costs. Like,
because really, if you go to Runza any other day, you know, you're either getting a combo and you're not, you know, you're only paying a little bit more. Or you're not getting the drink or whatever like that, and you're you know just getting the sandwich like that, so you're not paying, you know. But it's the idea of like, you know, I can go here and get.
Was that your Runza bell?
The Runza bell. I got a Runza bell that goes off whenever I say the word Runza. So
don't say it 3 times.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm glad we did it, you know, but I don't know. Maybe I need at least like one more Temperature Tuesday in my life. Maybe next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Maybe
I have some more. Okay, so and then I got the regular Runza, and then I got the frings too. Here's the thing: the onion rings taste good, but I will say they were not in shape. They were all crumbled up and crunched up, which is fine.
Yes,
they were busy. They were in a hurry. I'm sure they're just dumping tons of onion rings into a container and stuff,
Yes.
and then. The fries were really good. They were crisp and nice. The onion rings, they were all broken up, but they tasted good.
Yeah,
so that's all that matters.
They have nice, tasty onion rings. I went about like maybe 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It was pretty slow. I didn't have any line at all, and like.
Yeah, because you were going in that middle time.
Yeah, exactly. And my. You know, the fries weren't great. They were kind of like maybe a little undercooked and kind of just like...
Oh, damn it. Like mushy, kind of.
They weren't bad, but they weren't like great. So they weren't really necessarily good, but they weren't like horrible, I guess. I mean, I've had worse fries.
Yeah.
Probably from Runza even. The onion rings, of course, were like broken apart and over crisp, but they were good. I mean, they're really good. And I enjoy them. And,
nice.
You know, you got to have frings, you know, and frings a thing. And thank you, Runza, for getting frings, you know, having frings, doing the fring thing.
Yeah, exactly. And then, so then on to the fish sandwich. Are you ready for this?
No, I'm not ready.
I'm not joking.
Wait, what fish is that? Is that the codfish?
I think it was cod. Yeah, so it's deep fried and it's a thing of cod. And it comes with also lettuce, mayo, and then I think maybe tomato. I don't know. I forgot. But anyway, I'm not joking. It was freaking good. Like I would get that again. Like it was a good fish sandwich, and normally they're not that good. So
codfish.
Yeah. So Runza has a good fish sandwich for anybody that needs fish. And then the half of the bacon cheeseburger. So I will say, I think the bacon cheeseburger it was good, but it was the very meh item of like what I got. It was the most average item of everything I got. But here's the thing: as a munchie boy, sometimes you need that workhorse. Like you just need that like standby of something to like jam in your mouth. Like, and the cheeseburger was kind of my like go-to like piggy item. Like just eating it. Like,
piggy item. Piggy.
Like
piggy.
I felt like everything else I was actually like enjoying and tasting, and then that was kind of my jam like stuff item. Like,
well,
everybody listening's like, dear God, forgive him for all his sins.
His food sins. Yeah, I should have got a lot more to munch on, but you know. I wanted to keep it simple because I've been instant potting a lot of stuff, and I don't want to.
Did you end up having something else like that? You made something actually good and nutritious.
Well, I made a chicken enchilada soup on Sunday that I've been kind of eating.
Ooh, I'm jealous
since then.
of that. I need to make one of those. You're gonna
Today
have to
I
send
made
me
chicken parmesan, but I made like a parmesan butter pasta separately. So like instead of having regular spaghetti for the bed, it's like linguine, but with like garlic and Parmesan cheese and stuff. And then when I put the chicken Parmesan on top of that, it's like basically two good things combined in
oh my God, that sounds lovely.
The best way possible. Oh my gosh, I'll send you a picture.
By the way, this is kind of weird because like maybe this will have to be our new format because so right now we're recording at 7:30 at night. I still haven't eaten dinner. I just went grocery shopping at Trader Joe's, which Aaron still needs to come with me sometime.
Oh yeah, let me know
why
next
didn't we
time
plan
you're going.
that? We could have planned next time. We're gonna.
That could have been our little thing. We could have like talked about our like our mandate to Trader Joe's.
Yeah, maybe that'll be the next time, like in a week or two or something.
The Trader Joe's mandate, Manchurian candidate.
So, but what I was going to say, the format, it's almost like I have like a pep in my voice because I'm still munchy right now because I haven't eaten dinner yet. So I almost have like a food excitement rather than being full and already eating. Like,
what are you going to munch on?
I don't know because we got a full shebang. So I have all these options now. Like we got the frozen Indian I was talking about. That might take too long. So maybe we'll make something that takes a little less time. Chicken sausages, just a bunch of ravioli. I'm trying to think of what else. Yeah, probably something that only takes like 10 or 15 minutes to make. I don't know.
Okay.
But oh my gosh, this is big. Are you ready for so since we're doing Runza?
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this. I assistant directed 3 big Runza commercials a long time ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. I was the assistant director and it was fun actually. It was like I think that was one of the first time I was assistant directing for commercials and it was actually like an awesome experience. And
which Runza commercials were those? Would I have seen those ones?
I was actually just about to look them up to like because they were actually pretty funny. So oh yeah, here's one right here. That's funny. I think this was one of them. Let's see here. Runza commercial. Okay, how can I send this to you? I'm wondering. I have to be able to copy. I wonder if there's like a message thing up here that I can do more.
Maybe.
No, I guess I can't.
Well, there's like a chat. I think you can send it to me through chat.
Oh, you can? Okay,
yeah.
Let's see. Where's chat? Chat.
And I just directed my annual Super Bowl campaign for Woodhouse Auto Family. So that.
Whoa, tell me about it.
There was a big sports ball game apparently on Sunday, and it debuted on there. There's like a whole bunch of.
I need to watch that because I usually help you on that, but I was busy. Remember? And
yeah, I at one point I reached out. I was like, "Hey, are you gonna be available this week if I need anybody to assist?" And you're like, "No, I'm working." And I'm like, "Well, you know what? Screw you too,
like,
Tony."
What? You're usually available to work, and I'm like, "Damn it!"
It's like I guess I'll just like take all this money and like throw it away.
I guess it's better to be busy than to not be busy. Okay, yeah. I emailed you one of them. It was a series of 3. Where it's just they're just kind of funny. They were like comedy commercials, and it was just a good experience. And also, if you think about the way it works, we ate plenty of Runza.
How have I never tried these before?
Aaron's watching it.
First timer, huh? Yep.
Yum.
I've been into the ground beef and cabbage scene since like the late 80s. So.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I actually have cheese Runza on vinyl.
What does that even mean?
That I understand this.
I feel like
totally different.
Next time you assistant director runs a commercial, I need to be like an extra in the background.
Isn't that hilarious?
The uniquely homemade fresh taste of Runza.
The difference is real.
So that was one of 3, but it was like that kid was supposed to be like a hipster talking about how he had cheese runs on vinyl. So it was just kind of just like goofy little commercials, but it was fun.
Oh, you and your goofy stuff, Tony.
And they really did have kind of like a national commercial vibe to them with the way that the humor is and like the shots and stuff. So it was kind of cool.
Speaking of national commercial vibe, I'm going to use the Roland Alpha Juno 2 for my vintage synthesizer for this episode.
Ooh.
The Alpha Juno line came out in '85, the same year that Reanimator was originally supposed to be released. And the Alpha Juno 2 came out a few years later. It's mostly known for the hover sound, or the Hoover, actually, I believe is the word. It was originally a preset. Originally, it was a preset on the Alpha Juno 1, which sounds like this. And it became the base for almost the entire rave and house scene. You hear it in a lot of music. And today, you still hear it in Rihanna, Lady Gaga, all over the place. Once you recognize this sound, insert sound here, you'll hear it all over pop music. And it all comes from the Alpha Juno and the Alpha Juno 2 keyboard synthesizers. So since we have two of the 3 R's, Runza and Reanimator, I'm going to make it Runza, Reanimator, and Rave. So are you ready for this, Tony? You ready to rave to the grave?
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right, Alpha Juno 2.
My freaking God. That was dope.
Yes.
That was insanely dope.
So next time you listen to, like, say, 2 Unlimited, that's Alpha Juno 2 you're listening to. Yeah, exactly.
Y'all ready for this? It was funny because I'm glad you had that ready because I was about to be like, what are we going to do for our synthesizer? And then I was like, is there some synthesizer from Reanimator or? Yeah.
Well, I would have looked into that. Actually, I'm glad you mentioned that because Richard Band composed the score to Reanimator. I love the score for it. It's like the perfect score for that style of music. Mm-hmm. And I reached out to Richard Band and he allowed me to use some of his music in the short film Midnight Kiss that I released a few years back.
That's cool. That's cool that he was just like, yeah, that's fine with me.
Well, he had a bunch of songs in this like, kind of a stock library thing, but they weren't licensed to be used for like broadcast or film use.
Yeah.
So I basically purchased the collection and I reached out to the company, which sent me to his manager, which sent me to him like that to see if I could actually,
that's awesome. Like you were like, I know this isn't normally allowed, but yeah.
Just to get his blessing. I mean, of course, I could have just used it, but it's like I'd rather say like. So he was really cool about it though. He's like, yeah, just let me make sure I can see the send me a link, and I was like, cool,
That's
so
nice.
Yeah,
that's cool that he was interested.
But I mean, a lot is said about the intro and how it rips off, Bernard Herrmann and Psycho, and that's true. But like. The rest of the score is all totally original 80s.
Oh, somebody was saying that kind of ripped off stuff.
Everybody says that. It's if you have ears and have ever seen Psycho.
Oh,
it's
you
pretty
just
obvious.
mean music wise, like the
yeah,
okay. Because you know what I was thinking is with the intro of both part 1 and part 2 of Reanimator, I was like, this intro is like so. Like current modern show intros, like other, you know what I mean? Like the intro with the animated like body parts like moving.
Well, that's because it's like the Hitchcock Saul Bass kind of intro, like Vertigo.
Oh, okay. So it is a common thing because I was like, this seems like almost like one of the originators of.
You're right. I mean that style now is really if anything, it's way more popular now than it was in like the 80s or the 90s.
Yeah, well, I think that's why it stood out to me because actually it seemed different to me than other like 80s movies and stuff.
But
as far as that intro,
without giving anything away, I did kind of note that like there's a lot more subtleties in the movie that I picked up on this time. Like Herbert West said this was like single tear rolling down his face when Dr. Hill was about to steal his creation, and like at the end, like the Reanimator theme kind of starts up as like Dan Kane grabs the reagent and you see the green syringe going into like the end shot and it fades out to where all you see is the syringe and then going in the green is like shot
with
into
the primordial fluid
and then the scream.
Is that what it's called? The primordial ooze or whatever?
Reagent. I think you're thinking of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
No, because they definitely said ooze. Like there's a line. I'll have to find it and tell you later. But
maybe
there was definitely a
Bride,
line.
But
there was definitely a line where they said something like the primordial ooze, like when they were trying to describe. Like,
it's always his reagent or his serum in the.
It must have been somebody else that was saying it about it, though. Yeah. But the reason I vividly remembered it was because I was like, oh, yeah, Secret of the Ooze. Like, it literally reminded me of the Ninja Turtles ooze. And then they said ooze, and I was like, oh, my God. Like, what if this is like this inner movie, like, serum? But me and Whitney were talking about how the serum and the needle thing was, like, the perfect prop. Like, we were talking about how fun it is because it's so bright and like luminous.
Yeah, I've gone as Herbert West for Halloween before, and I would throw in like a take the glow sticks and break them and
Oh, that's awesome.
have this glowing syringe. And I remember going to Target and like trying to buy a syringe, and it's like, I need what's like the biggest syringe you have?
Yeah, where
like,
do you even get the big ones? Like, how is that science stuff? Like, is it like
you probably go to
basically
like a veterinary, like a
I wonder if that's is that what that would be like
yeah,
for animal stuff or whatever? Yeah.
But I think there's people on Etsy now that actually sell syringes, and I have one of my copies of Reanimator on DVD came with like a highlighter that kind of looks like a little syringe, and that's kind of fun.
That's awesome. What is that do you know what that liquid's made out of? Like the glowing, is it just like whatever's in glow sticks?
It's glow stick. Yeah, they're just using glow stick.
Okay. Yeah, because it was always so bright. I was like, we were like, this is awesome.
Oh yeah, it's pretty rad.
So funny. But anyway.
But
I digress.
A fun little a point here. When I worked at KTV, my title on my business card was Reanimator.
That's awesome.
I was able to convince them. It's like, well, basically, a lot of my job is, clients sends their logos in, and I have to animate them. So I'm basically a reanimator.
That's so funny.
And somehow I actually got away with having reanimator. Like Aaron Gum, reanimator.
That is so funny. Oh my gosh! Speaking of the movie, still, you know who I absolutely loved was the guard. Like the morgue, the morgue guard, and he was just so freaking funny. Like some of the funniest moments to me were the guard's like non-reactions to awkward things happening. Like,
it's like, and you can actually you're right though, because that character is there's not that many characters really in the movie, and like he's one of the ones that you normally wouldn't like be talking openly about, but like really he's like, hey, you got my lunch down there, right? It's like, nope, just meatball hit by a semi. Ooh, yeah. Like you can see that as like your casual talk to the guy that guards the morgue, and he's sitting down there with like a porno mag, and it's like, all right, Dr. Hill, is that you? It's like, all right,
Yeah. Also, it is funny, like the old, it totally did the old like nudity, like the 80s nudity. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's so funny how like now that's not really even a thing. Like,
now it's not. No,
I mean it makes sense, but yeah, like it makes sense.
And that's a good time to mention too that Barbara Crampton is an awesome scream queen, and like she handled those scenes, like with a strong power. It wasn't like it didn't feel like now if you did that stuff, it'd feel like okay, that's most likely it's gonna feel exploitive and really out of place. But as far as like 80s horror nudity and stuff like that, I mean it's extreme, it's completely over the top, but it's like it fits in the nature of
and here's the thing, and I completely get this, like I'm not even completely against this, but that would be another element of what, like in the old days especially, but like that whenever they're trying to appeal to people, whether it's the shock value of the gore and like the craziness of the movie, like I think nudity was another thing where kids would be like, I want to see that, like it was just another thing to draw people to want to see it anyway. Like
imagine being an actress who has to be in a scene where you're laying on a hospital gurney naked with like a headless body like groping
trying
you
to rape you basically.
That's a pretty crazy scene.
I know, and it's nasty.
A lot of people probably wouldn't really be down for that.
Well, and it's just gross. It's like it's true, because that's not even like sexual basically. I mean it is, but it's like so nasty that it doesn't even, it's not like you would ever like it or anything.
Right. Yeah, it's not like
this cut off head is licking her.
And then I kind of forgot a lot of like the Dr. Hill, like the hypnotizing, like I'm suggesting you, I'm giving you the power of suggestion, you're believing this now. And so even Herbert West falls for his suggestion.
And like when he's talking to that one guy, I forgot if that was part 2, where he's trying to get him to help him, and when his head, I love when they were like found it at an old freak show, like they found his head or something like that. I don't know if you remember that from part 2, like somebody gives him the head and wrapped up in like newspaper, and they're like, they found it at an old sideshow or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, like he disappeared.
Because there's a line in the first one where it's like, who's going to believe a talking head get a job at a sideshow? So maybe they brought that back as kind of
I wonder. Because
as an inside joke for the next one.
It was supposed to be like the head was missing for a while, because the morgue guy was like, I took care of that or something. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, it was fun. It's just zany and fun. So I want to watch. I'm going to have you recommend more like weird movies like that, because
I'll tell you, I love watching a movie I watched today, and I don't know why I watched it today at all. I think I saw they mentioned it in Fat Man Beyond. It was an episode. It was a movie that inspired an episode in Mandalorian. I don't know if you've been watching Mandalorian.
I watched the first few episodes, but I didn't pick it up still. Yeah.
Well, there's an episode in season 2 where Bill Burr's character returns, and then they're basically driving this explodium across like this terrain. And, if they drive too fast, it blows up. If they drive too slow, it blows up. But that all comes back to a 1953 movie, Wages of Fear. And I just watched Wages of Fear today. Amazing.
Really?
If you're into like black and white French films,
sometimes.
I was watching it and I was like, at some point, I was like so caught up by the tension of like, these like giant vehicles full of nitroglycerin that I completely forgot that A, I was watching a black and white movie, and B, I was reading subtitles. It's insane how much of that kind of like, works into modern shows like Mandalorian and stuff, from that, but a lot of that trope of like, if we go too fast, it blows up. If we go too slow,
is that why you
blows
watched
up?
it?
Yeah, kind of. I think on Fat Man Beyond, somebody asked Kevin Smith, like what 3 movies would he recommend or something, and he mentioned that one, and I was completely forgot about it, and then I had like a little lull in between, like, like the brutal couple weeks of production lately, and like
you're like, I want to see.
I had to put a finishing touch on a music video today, and then I was like, I just need to kind of like do something that's not like work, and I'm just gonna watch this and
something fun. Yeah.
I don't know why,
crazy.
But
it's crazy how word of mouth like works like that so easily. Like you literally hear one person say something and then you watch it. Like, because that's what happened with me with Reanimator, just from that podcast. Like I was like, I bet I should watch it. Like,
well, I mean, and there's definitely more movies like in Reanimator. And there's they definitely kind of go downhill. The first one is amazing. If you like Jeffrey Combs and you like that film style, From Beyond is always going to kind of be a sister movie to that. I mean, and that is another...
I'll have to check that out.
Another H.P. Lovecraft, one, but...
I'll have to check it out. Check it out.
The same basic cast. You have Barbara Crampton back, and you have Jeffrey Combs, and you get like the pineal gland, like where this like it gets excited and, can shoot out of your head. It's pretty crazy. Also, like, he's in a lot of other things that are fun. Like if you've seen like The Frighteners, Peter Jackson's like pre-Lord of the Rings movie, the one that he kind of made as a test to kind of show what his Weta workshop could do to get Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
The actor who played Herbert West is in that movie as well. And he has like some fun scenes where he's like, my body is a roadmap of pain. So...
Don't you love when there's just like phrases that you like?
Yeah.
Like that's what you remember is just like a line or something.
Well, there's a lot of lines from Reanimator that I always remember, except one of them actually I just realized I was remembering wrong this whole time. I thought it was like, West, you killed me. But actually, the real line is like, West, you bastard. So I don't know. It's fun.
Aaron, here's what you need to do for our Instagram post. So you need to take a selfie of yourself with your sweater, and then take some more pictures of like that little head thing and stuff.
The little head, yes.
Because you did send me the one picture of Herbert West with the Runza bag by it. But
I did, yes.
But yeah.
Well, I think that's plenty for this. I think you should go get some munch.
Yeah, I'm gonna go munch. I'm hungry now after I've been talking about all this serum.
Get your munch on. And all you out there still listening, all 2 of you, munch you later.
Yeah, and you guys go watch Reanimator.
And check out Wages of Fear if you want to watch something black and white and French.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right.
As we like to say, munchy. Munchy boys. West.
Bye.